Okay,
I,
I'll
I,
record.
I
There.
think it's important to record.
Okay.
Okay. So whoever's watching this recording is going to be hearing some stories about how the master works. And in this particular case, my understanding is Pam's going to tell us how Baba works to bring her to him. So take it away, Pam.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. Well, I had always been a seeker, in ever since I was young, and I tried different religions of the Christian mode, and none of them seemed to be right. None of them seemed to be a good fit. Each one seemed to focus on their own little piece of the pie, and it just didn't feel right to me. And so, anyway, I I was married 51 years to my husband Danny. When we were, I guess it was around in 1980. I was playing in a duo with another person, and in walks Charlie Decker, a Baba lover, to where we were playing, and he talked to us about Meher Baba. He had just come back from India, and so I thought it sounded too much like the Maharishi, someone from India that he was madly, interested in. And so I poo-pooed it at the time. And then, like the next year or so, I was at some friend's house, and I had too much to drink, and so they said you can sleep in our guest room. So I did, and the next morning I woke up and there was this song playing in my head. You think that your stinking garbage is better than anybody else's. And I thought that's a catchy song. I don't know what it means, but so I wrote down the words as I was leaving their place on a paper trash bag. I wrote down the words, and called my friend when I got home, and I said, "What did I write on that trash bag by the door?" And she said, "Well, we were kind of scratching our heads about that one." She said, "It said you think that your stinking garbage is better than anybody else's." So, oh, thank you, thank you. And so I made this song about it. And this group that I was in at the time, we started performing it. It was like a calypso song, and everybody seemed to like to dance to it and stuff. And so I still didn't know what it meant. And a year or two later, Danny and I, my husband and I, started a group called the Rubensteins, and we were performing that song in a little place in the Spanish Quarter. When in walks Charlie Decker, and he said, "Aren't you Pam Rubenstein? That used to be with that group, Kid Gloves, back in the '80s." I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, I'm Charlie Decker," and he said, that song you were doing, Stinking Garbage. I'd like you to play that for somebody from India that's coming." And I was like, "What? You want me to play that for somebody from India? It's not a holy song." But anyway, so we got to be friends with Charlie, and we went to his apartment, and he had, like on the wall was like solid pictures of Baba, wall to wall. And we were like, well, this guy, Mayor Baba must be somebody, because he's got so many pictures of him, and he's so head over heels for this Baba. And so when Bal Kalchuri came to town, Charlie had helped us produce our first album. He gave us a check, I think it was for like $250, to get us started recording. We didn't have much money then. And so he gave us, some money to get us recording. So as a favor to him, we went to see Bal Kalchuri talk at the church, at the Unitarian Church. And on the way there, I I know this me here Baba must be somebody special, but is he the one, Is he the one? And so we came in to the church and Bao started talking and he's like, he is the one, the same ancient one. He was Zoroaster, he was Ram, he was Krishna, he was Buddha, he was Jesus, he was Muhammad.
Mm.
And it all kind of made sense, that Christ comes again and again. And so I was, very, very interested at that point. And the next night, or 2 nights later, we met at this woman's house, and he started, telling more stories. And the more stories he told, the more we were interested. And the group was just so endearing, because they all loved our music, and they all were so, supportive and generous, and so I really decided right then, that this Baba was what I wanted. And Danny said, "Now, honey, don't go off the deep end." And I said, "Oh, I won't go off the deep end." But anyway, we started hanging out with the Baba people, and Bal Kalchuri was one of his favorite catchphrases was, "Give Baba your stinking garbage. He's the ocean." He said, "You can pour a bottle of perfume in the ocean. It doesn't make any difference. You can pour a ton of stinking garbage in the ocean. It doesn't make any difference." So, that's where the stinking garbage came from. But that was one of his major catchphrases at the time, was stinking garbage. So that's how I came to Baba, through stinking garbage.
I have a question. Did Charlie give you $250 before you were Baba lovers? You were just friends? Is that how
Yeah,
that went?
yeah, we were just
Wow.
friends. He was really into music scene, and we were very popular at the time. The Rubensteins' music was really gaining popularity on our local radio station, and so Charlie, wanted us to get a CD and get on the air, get it on the air. So that's why he gave us this check for $250. And we just thought, wow, that's really generous, And so to pay him back, we went to see Bao. So that's how we came to Baba, through Charlie and Bao. And Baba's grace, of course.
Mm.
Great. That's perfect.
I call
Anybody want to follow up with another story or an anecdote that they like?
It reminded me when Pam was talking, it reminded me of something about Baba, and you were talking about put all your stinking garbage in the ocean. Well, he bought one of his, it might have been Norina Machabelli or one of those other girls, a bottle of perfume that was Chanel number 5. And Chanel number 5 is made out of whale puke. So
it's
uh,
made of what?
whale puke, the big ocean fish, whale. When
Whale
when
puke?
they throw up, they use that to make Chanel number 5.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it just reminded me of that. But he gave a bottle of that Chanel number 5 to one of his women disciples. I can't remember who it was at the time,
I
but
guess you follow a whale around waiting for it to vomit,
I
and
don't know how they do it, but I guess that's what they do. Yeah,
weird. That
yeah.
is bizarre. That's the first I've heard of that, but stranger things have happened, I guess.
Paula, do you want to join in the festivities with a story of yours that you like?
A story of mine.
It doesn't have to be about you or anything. It could be any story that you really like that reminds you of how Baba works in the world.
Well, I could speak about the trip that I won to India in 2000 and let's see, no, 1996 was the last time I was in India, actually.
Me too.
Really? You were there also, Pammy?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that was I was just I went down to the Berkeley Baba Center, and I went with my friend Cecilia Nunez. She was married at the time, or she had been married to Michael Childs, and they have a son. And and our sons are about a year apart in age, and her son was a year older, I believe. So and I remember Brian Darnell, he was emceeing the Baba program at that time in Berkeley. And I don't know, but something, I was having such a hard time in life at the time. Well, what else is new? I'm just trying to think. But anyway, I was having a really, really difficult time. Uh, and so we went down to Berkeley, and um, what happened was, so I think that it was Cecilia's son, David, that pulled out. Oh, let me see. Wait. I have to. Let me just see here. Let me see here. Okay.
Turn your
Yeah.
phone like this.
Okay. So, Cecilia's son David pulled out the winning ticket. My son Taylor, he made a hand gesture inside the pot of tickets, and then David had pulled the winning ticket, and it was just like such a miracle. And it took me, because life was really difficult. In fact, I have to just mention this because Betty's on this call too, my old friends here. But if not for David, Betty's husband, I do not think I would have been able to go to India. Life was so difficult at that time that David came 2 of the 3 weeks that I went to India on my trip that time. And he stayed and was a house husband to my husband, Andrew Wainwright, at the time. And if not for that, I don't think that I would have been able to make that trip. He was like amazing. He came and stayed 2 of the 3 weeks that I was away. And it was just like the most amazing trip. I can't even, I saw money for the last time, because I remember going to the porch there several times in Merzad. And yeah, that was just a very, very amazing thing. And the fact that David did that for me, I'll never forget that. Never, ever forget that. So that was one of my stories, one of my greatest stories of winning and I said to Baba, I said, I can never, ever in this life complain that I have never won anything. What a rare, rare fortune to win that trip at that time in life.
Yes.
So
Paula, I think your phone fell on its side.
my phone fell. Wait, let me just see. Oh, it says video is stopped.
Yeah, the video stopped. There you are.
Oh,
See,
am
now
I right
that
side up?
Yeah,
is
Am I
you
right?
right side up. Yeah.
Okay.
Lying down.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
This is wonderful being with old friends like this.
And new friends.
Arthur, I think Betty said you had a story, Arthur.
Well, I got a story that I wasn't sure what kind of stories you were what this was all about, so I thought I'd just watch and see.
Okay, well, that's fine. Yeah,
You have a story though.
when you're ready,
Well,
you'll
I'll never be ready,
inform
but
us.
I'm right when.
Yeah.
I just went up. this is kind of like, you know, a little bit of it's my autobiography, but the way I look at it, it's everything in this life was, you know, Baba was leading me through, leading all of us through every little event, you know, and all the little coincidences that happened and everything. That was his incredible magic, you know. And so it's like, I remember when I was 5 years old, coming home from kindergarten, and I was raised Catholic, so I'd already been drugged to church quite a few times in a suit and everything, and I hated it. But anyways, I had always questions about God. Well, who is God? You know, what's going on in this? Nobody could ever answer any of them. You know, so I was walking home from the basketball court, and I thought, well, I'll just see if this God's real or not. If I say this and he don't kill me, I'll be okay. So I said, I am God. And I took off running real fast because I thought he was going to throw a lightning bolt at me and kill me. Well, he didn't. And, you know, that's just a little bit of what I remember. And so it goes on. You know, like I said, I was raised Catholic. My mother and father were pretty strict. And they sent me to Catholic school, which was across town. And, you know, I was trying to learn about whatever I could, and I never got any questions answered, but I became an altar boy, and, you know, I got to be real good at it, and they were putting me in charge of all these, you know, like, you know, Easter season and all that. And they taught me how to speak Latin in Catholic school and all that, and I never did like any of that, but I did it. But so then I started, you know, investigating the Catholic religion more, you know, and things I would hear that they would teach. They didn't use the Bible in Catholic school. They used what they call catechisms, which I'm not even sure what those are. But they talked about some things, and I got up to about 8th grade, and they said something like if a baby is born and it isn't baptized, then it goes to a place called limbo, which is exactly like heaven, but you never get to see the face of God. And when I heard that, something just snapped inside me. It's like, that can't be right, you know, that cannot be right. And and then I started questioning some more things and this and that. And well, it didn't stop the Catholic priest, because we were all good buddies then. They were, one especially was a coin and stamp collector, and I was a coin and stamp collector. He was always getting me out of school, having me come down to the church and mow the yard or whatever, you know, and then he'd give me coins and stamps. And he had some good ones, you know. So I had a pretty good relationship there. And let's see, where's I going to go now? Oh, okay. So he went away, and you know they rotate the priests in those churches. I don't know, they're every 3 or 4 years or something, whatever it is. Well, the next ones that came in, they decided they were going to make a priest out of me. So they put me on a jet on the day that the Indianapolis 500 took place. And we flew over it, and I got to see them racing on the Indianapolis 500 to Washington, D.C. And that's where they had they called it, well, it was their main headquarters for the Catholic priests. They had a huge school. It looked like one of those things you see at Cambridge or something like that. And they had this huge place where they all stayed. And there was many, many priests there. And so first night, you know, we had, like on the airplane, everything, we had tableside flambe at the airport. And I'm telling you what, they all had new cars. And we got to the place in Washington, and the nuns were waiting on them hand and foot, baking their chicken pot pies for them and everything. They had a swimming pool. They had this incredible place they're all living in. They all had their separate rooms. And so we stayed there. And then they took me over to see the school. And here's this gigantic school. It's like a really expensive looking university, huge building with all these rooms in it. I went up in there, and there was dust everywhere. They had all this fancy equipment in the labs, and it was just amazing, but they weren't doing anything there. You know, we shot pool, they drank and smoked. Everything in the place that we were staying was absolutely plush. I mean, they had the silver teapots, all plush furniture and everything, and man, something was really snapping. Now I went back to my room, and I went, well, this vow of poverty they take's a good deal, you know.
Yeah.
And I was really turned off. I couldn't wait to get back home. I was really turned off. And I got back home and, you know, I wasn't really confused, but I was fed up with everything. So I quit the everything, the Catholic religion and all that. And I just kind of went on my own, you know. The town I grew up in is where they had the world championship pool tournaments every year for 9-ball and 8-ball and billiards and all that. And the Minnesota Festival, they all came there. And it was a big thing because they had it there for like 10 years. These gangsters built a place out on the highway. And anyway, so I thought pool playing was the thing to do. And I got real good at it. And so when I was 16, got my driver's license, I was running all over the place, playing pool, getting money, drinking beer. I was having a blast, and then, you know, it was a great time. Well, I ran into this one guy, and we got real interested in each other, and he's a real good personality, and he sold bread for colonial bread, and it was really good bread. It had some nice texture to it and everything. But he invited me out to his house after the pool game, and I went out there, and he gave me a pamphlet, which was it had Plato in it, and it had some analogy stories in it, and he turned me on to Cat Stevens and things that I'd never, you know. Now it kind of really captivated me because it was like, wow, this looks like something real, or it fascinated me because it was so much more the outlook than the Catholic religion had given me, which was really pretty bland, you know. Anyways, we got to be good friends and everything, and started getting into a lot of talks and this, and I started reading books about everything I could imagine, you know, astrology, everything, metaphysics, religion, Bhagavad Gita, Quran. And then I picked up this one book at a rummage sale. It was 25 cents. This is a big purple book. It was like this big and like this thick. And it had I don't know, what you call those round circles that they use in India, mandala or something on the front of it. And the name of the book was Be Here Now. I thought, hey, 25 cents, I'll take it. It looked like it was written on paper bags or newspaper or something. And I got going in there and I started reading things. I'm like, wow, and the funny thing is, I was living right there in Southern Illinois, and that's where all the people from Chicago came, all the kids came, because we had Southern Illinois University there. And it was the #1 party school in the nation at that time. And I mean, that place was hopping. They had Bob Dylan coming there, REO Speedwagon, Buckminster Fuller, you know, it was a happening place. A lot of all kinds of drugs and everything going on, hippies, you know, and it was out of range for me. I was raised strict Catholic, you know. I wasn't into drugs or any of that stuff. But anyways, let's see, where was I? I was in Carbondale. I got off track there. I was going for something. Well, I'll pause there and maybe continue it next
Be
time.
here. You were reading Be Here Now or something.
Oh yeah, this was important because I opened it to the middle page and there's Baba. And he's sitting out, he's just sitting there looking like that. Well, he's kind of sitting back looking like this. And all my life, all through Catholic school, I had this terrible nail biting. I chewed them down to where they was bleeding, you know, and it was just terrible. My mom hated it and dad hated it, and I don't know, I just couldn't stop. And what the thing that it said in there, Baba says, he says, every time you bite your fingernail, you bite him, or you bite me, something like that, you know. And it just, I don't know what it did to me, but it got me. So I started kind of checking him out and the things he said. And it was pretty radical for me, you know, as a Catholic, looking at this, you know, they weren't taking like, you know, they thought that was the time Charles Manson was going on, and that guy down in Guyana, Jim Jones, and that was a radical thing to do, you know, to be into anything like that. And so I kind of snuck around and did it, but I read the book, and Baba Ron Dobbs was in there, and he used to come over there. One of my friends was friends with him, and so well, I got that far. I'll give somebody else a break. But that was a start on my spiritual,
Yeah, chapter one. Very
Wow.
chapter 1. We're on about chapter 7 now.
good.
Yeah. I was raised Catholic too, and I lived in Illinois when I was a teenager, but it was up north of Chicago.
Oh, really? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Up north of Chicago.
I lived in Waukegan.
Waukegan, okay. Did you know where I'd attended, I went to a Gurdjieff school up there in Winnetka. I don't know if that's Winnetka, is that close to
I
Waukegan?
think it's close by. I'm not sure. I mean, I left there in 1969 when I was 18.
Oh,
So,
no. Well,
but I remember that I went to Jack Benny Junior High School.
Jack Benny.
Jack Benny was from Waukegan.
Okay.
Jack Benny was, this is just something I know because I read his biography. He was born 9 days before Baba
Really?
on Valentine's Day, 1894.
Wow.
He was a special person, I
Yeah.
think.
Cool.
Yeah, that's yeah.
So I can tell a short anecdote. When, one of the times, well, actually, the second time I went to Mayher Center in Myrtle Beach was in 1972 in the summer. And quite a few things happened, but there was this one particular thing that happened. I didn't know that many people there. And so, like you go there and people show up and you just kind of see them. And so I had recently arrived and I went into the Lagoon Cabin. And the way I understood it, I think when somebody told me about what the Lagoon Cabin was about, was that, it was a place for solitary meditation or whatever you want to do, quiet place where you could commune with Baba. So I went in there this one afternoon and I think I had come up with this song. There was a song that was the words of Rabindranath Tagore. I put it to music. It was one of his poems, and I think I had actually sung it to Kitty Davy as an opportunity. She wanted to hear me sing it before she allowed me to sing it in the meeting place. Uh, so so I had just sung that, I think. And then I went over and I went in and I was sitting on the couch, just sitting there. And I was looking at all the different things because it was still sort of new. I had been there once before, but, uh, and I looked down and there was this little stool. Oh, I forgot to say that the name of the song or the poem was "Here is thy footstool." That was the first line. Here is thy footstool. So when I saw the footstool, I thought of that song, and I thought, oh my God, there's a footstool. And so what I did was I went and I sat cross-legged in front of it and put my hands, and then I put my head on it like this, and I was just kind of feeling and a certain kind of an affection for Baba. And I had this material item, which I figured maybe he put his feet on at some point. And so I was just thinking that this is about as close as I'm going to get to Baba. And so I was just kind of stroking that very smooth wood and thinking of Baba. And then all of a sudden, I heard somebody come in the door from behind. And I thought, wow, I wonder why they're coming in. I thought I was supposed to be able to be here by myself, but I didn't. I figured it was because they couldn't see me, because the couch would have been in the line of vision, and they wouldn't have seen me sitting down in front of the couch there in front of that stool. So I didn't feel like it was that big of a deal. But what happened was I heard them walk up to right next to me, right in front of Baba's chair. And then I heard them sit down in Baba's chair. And I thought, now, wait a minute. this is crazy. Who is doing this? It just isn't right that they should be doing this. And I was trying to imagine the people that I had seen or during this short stay that I had been there. And I was thinking, is there a person that I figured might be crazy enough to do that, especially right in front of somebody else? It'd be one thing to do it, by their own, but right in front of me, although I wasn't looking. You see, I still had my head down facing the other direction. So I was thinking, oh my God, this is like a crazy person. How am I going to confront this person? And then it came to me, now, wait a minute, there is another possibility. And that is the only person that really legitimately should take the seat is Baba. And that possibly Baba decided to come in and pay me a visit, so that I could have his darshan or something. I don't even know if I knew the word darshan at that point. But so I was thinking I was going to have to look because I couldn't not look. I was going to have to build up my courage, pick my head up and look and see who was sitting in Baba's chair. And my heart was pounding because I was either going to have to face this crazy person and tell him, what are you doing? Or be there with Baba. Either way, it was scary. So I looked up, and of course, my mind had made up the scenario, what I was thinking, I was hearing. There was somebody who had come in and sat down cross-legged in front of the chair, just like I had in front of that stool, and put their hands, their arms on the chair and put their face on their arms, just like I had done with the stool. So it made it sound, because it has this I think it has a plastic cover, so I could hear it sounded like somebody sitting down, but it was actually, they were just, and I was so relieved. But it was just a way of Baba giving me a kind of a sense of who he was in a way, that, and also teaching me about how my mind can play tricks. And I, shouldn't necessarily get too carried away with my thoughts and my fantasies and things of that sort. But it was fun anyhow. It's fun, especially in retrospect.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's good for you.
We had this earlier one. I was like, oh no, what's he gonna say? Was it Baba?
Yeah, really.
Ronnie, can I ask you something? Because I came a little bit late. So tell me about this group. What your thoughts were about the group, this group
Yeah.
that you're.
Well, the group is whoever comes at the time will be able to listen to stories and offer up a story or more than one story. And so it's just sharing anecdotes and stories that you love and
Yeah,
that you like to tell. And you can even read a story. Like I was suggesting that Bal Natu was really into collecting people's anecdotes and stories and making whole volumes of these different stories. And if there's one that really touches your heart, you might want to, maybe not everybody has read those books. And
yeah,
even if they have, hearing a story for another time is
yeah,
well worth it, because you might just get more, you might be ready to receive more from it than you did the first time. So, just that's what it's about, is the treasure that we find in these stories and their telling.
I
Yeah,
love it. Thank
just
you.
sharing the treasure.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Betty, you want to tell something?
You're muted.
Right. Yeah, I'm getting there. Not.
Okay.
Did Arthur tell a story? He was going to.
He got the first chapter in. Yeah. He's good. We haven't completed his story. He's still on the verge. I mean, he saw Baba's face uh, and Be Here Now. That's where we're at, I think, at this point. Well, I'll tell a story that I've told 100, 200 times, 1,000 times, maybe, I don't know. But early on in 70, let's see, what was it? No, it was like in 1980, actually. I got a job in San Francisco. And I was a little nervous about this job because it was outside sales. I had been in sales before, but it was in a store, where the customers come to you. Now I had to go find customers and drive around in San Francisco. And I wasn't really big on driving even at that point. But that's the job I got. So I was going to see if I could pull it off. Now, I had recently bought, I don't know if anybody knows Billy Ward, but I had bought his old car. What was it? Oh, yeah. His car was a Fiat. And so it was like this old Fiat. You know what Fiat stands for? Fiat. Anybody know that? It's Fix It Again, Tony. Anyhow, so this is in San Francisco. So I'm coming over from the East Bay on the Bay Bridge. And this is when they still had people taking tolls, receiving money for the tolls. And this was very early on. This might have been the first week that I was going to this office and starting my job. I can't remember for sure because it was quite a long time ago. But I'm creeping along and moving up toward the toll booth. And when I get about, I don't know, about 20, 30 yards away from the toll booth, I put my foot on the clutch and then it just fell to the floor and I heard a snapping sound. And the clutch just was laying on the floor. And I didn't think I could drive it with this, with the clutch broken. It seemed like it was broken. So I was very concerned. So here's the thing that happened was, I was freaked out about it. I immediately went into, oh my God, now what's going to happen mode. And for some reason, Baba's grace descended. He just decided that he was going to use this as a way of teaching me some things. And so the first thing he did, and this is the way Baba usually teaches me things, he challenges me. So he presented a challenge. So as soon as I'm all in this crazy worry about the fact that I'm stuck on this bridge with like a gazillion cars behind me and, and getting in everybody's way and nobody can get to the toll booth now because I'm, stuck and all this kind of thing. All these thoughts are happening very fast, but Baba interrupts and he says, whoa, hang on, Ron. I want you to be thinking about something quite different than that. And that is, I want you to look around and I want you to identify everything you see that is a good thing. something very positive that you can see is happening here. And so the first thing I figured, because if Baba's going to challenge me, I'm going to take him up on it because I know he's got me in mind that I need to get something out of this. So I see that I'm very close to the toll booth, and I can just get out of my car safely because the cars that are going on either side are just creeping up to the toll booth. And so I walk up to the person at the toll booth after there's nobody in front of me anymore. And I said, my clutch is broken. I don't think I can drive the car. So she says, go back to your car. I'll have somebody take care of it. So I go back to the car. I'm sitting there. I still have some things to think about. I mean, that seemed pretty easy. So that was a good thing. And then also I realized that this could have happened when I was about a mile back, you know, and then what was I going to do? I didn't walk up anywhere. It, it was such a blessing that it happened right there, especially because about 2 minutes later, this Caltrans truck pulls up and hooks me up, a tow truck, hooks me up and says, get in, you know. And so the car is hooked up to the tow truck and I get in sitting next to the driver. And he says, do you want to go into San Francisco or do you want to go back to Oakland or something, you know? I said, well, I might as well go into San Francisco. And he said, okay, fine. Do you have a mechanic that you want me to take this to? And I said, no, not really. I don't have a mechanic. I just started a new job there, so I don't know any mechanics in San Francisco. So he says, well, I got this guy that he's a good guy. I'll take you to him. Even it's a little out of my scope. I'm not really supposed to take you there, but I'm going to take you to this guy anyhow. So he drives up, drives over the bridge, pulls off, and takes me to this tiny little shop where this mechanic is, and drops me off. And that's when I realized that I was 2 blocks away from my office. So it was like right there. Oh, after I dealt with this guy and left in my car, I just walked 2 blocks and then I was at my office. So I mean, it can't get any easier than this, Baba. You know, and this is really good service here. I mean, I'm getting treated like a prince. That's what I was feeling like. Everything is going my way, even though at first I thought everything was not going my way. Now I'm seeing everything is going my way. Just because Baba said, look for it, you might find it. So then he calls me back and he says, yeah, your clutch cable is broken. I said, okay, can you fix it? He said, yeah. I said, just for the acquiring, how much would that cost? He said, $70. I said, fine, let's go for it. So I go pick up the car and then I start driving it around the next, week or two. And then what happens is I'm driving, because I had a lot of appointments that I would have to drive to at those days. I don't have any anymore because the business has changed. But in those days, I had to go here and there, all around San Francisco. So this one day, I'm on a kind of a freeway, and the steam is coming out of from under the hood. And I think, oh my gosh, not this again. Because the previous car that I had a problem where steam was coming out and you required like a whole new engine. You know, it was like, oh my God, I just bought this car. I think it was for $1,000. I bought the car. Anyhow, what I decided to do, because I didn't know much about cars. Well, I didn't nothing about cars, but I thought it may have had something to do with a radiator. And I had just actually sold one of the things that I sold at the time was to a guy. It was just right next to where our office was. So I thought I'll just drive there. It's not that far. And I pulled into his shop and I said, there's a lot of steam coming out. Can you check it out and let me know? So he calls me back about half hour later and he says, you're going to need to replace your water pump. And I thought, oh, well, how much is that going to cost? $700.
Oh,
All right, $700 for that. Not that I knew, what that would be, but what I told this guy, and this guy was my client. I mean, he bought something from me, put it that way. I said, I'll pick up the car in an hour. So I went and got the car. I drove it over to that other mechanics and I pull in. This guy walks out. He sees me and he remembers me. He walks over to me and he says, what's going on? And I said, I had steam coming out from under the hood and I don't know what, but so I wonder if you could look at it right away. I mean, he doesn't say come back in the morning or leave the car. He just opens the hood. He takes the air filter off the something with a motor or whatever. He says, wait a minute. And he goes into his office, comes back, does something, which was basically he put in a new thermostat, which is this tiny little cardboard thing, a little thing. He just, so he put it in. He says, okay, you're good to go. Give me $20.
Oh no.
And the car never overheated again. In fact, it ran cool for the rest of the time that I had it. And so I mean, that was the icing on the cake, is the, saving $700, because that guy in the truck took me to this guy who is the honest guy,
Yeah.
not like this other guy wanted to charge me $700.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, Baba's grace and love, everything comes through in that one.
Yeah.
So Ron, you were thinking about Baba when that happened. You felt like it was a challenge for Baba and he was testing your
Yeah.
faith.
Yeah. Baba's challenged me at various times.
I feel the same.
And usually it's because I need to be challenged at that time. And as long as I accept it, I hope he keeps challenging me. I mean, it hasn't happened that many times, but they were good ones when he did it.
Yeah.
They were beautiful.
Well, I thought of something. It's a smaller scale than you guys' stories. I love Rosalie says the mystical language. She says, see me live in you in small ways. There's more to it than that, but I like that part of it.
Yeah.
So anyway, Alan Ray and I have been working on this Haryapur series, which I kind of rolled my eyes at. He said, "Will you help me?" I said, "Sure," but he had these grand ideas about the Mela that he was interested in. I thought nobody cares anyway. But I swear Baba has just blessed this series. Every one of those, he's interviewing people who have either been to Hamirpur or got to know Pukar, who is from Hamirpur, and then Pukar traveled all over the States. And it every one of these, almost without fail, every one of these little interviews with people that he has dug up. So that, I mean, who knew who'd been to Hamirpur before this? And it's just been a gem. They're just lovely stories about this wonderful place. It's all heart. Ron's been there. Ron was interviewed. Um, all right. So anyway, and it's winding down now, and one of the last interviews that uh, uh, is to happen is to a dear old friend of both of ours, Marie Rhodes, who lives about an hour away from. We're both living in Sacramento now, so we go up and visit Marie anyway. She's just an old dear Bob. I don't. Did you know of her, Paula?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
um, and kind of, out of circulation now. She's 88 next week. Um, so we go up and see her, and she's losing it a little bit. She repeats stories, not, certainly unacceptable,
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
enough. So, but and she can't get on the computer for love or money. She can't figure out how to, push the right buttons to get. So. So anyway, so we figured, okay, what we will do, and when you go and talk to her, we're never quite sure where the conversation is going to go. So I thought, what we'll do is we'll record her so that we have some control over, and that seemed like a smart thing to do. We would be pushing the buttons, so we go up there. It was just last week. Um, oh yeah, and. It seemed that the only way we were, how did it go? Yeah, I recorded her on my phone, and that didn't work. It was a huge file. It wouldn't. So it got down to, well, okay, we'll just Alan Ray set her up so she could just push a button and get on the computer, and we were out, like this in different places. Um, and I can't remember what happened. There was something. It was like I was ready to give it up. It was gonna. I mean, we had this little window of time, maybe a couple of hours, and there were just a lot of things that could go wrong. For one thing, she couldn't get on or whatever. I figured, oh, it's not. Anyways, but Baba insisted. Basically, we she was on. She got on, and we were there, and she had her nice clothes on, and which was amazing. And, so, and she told her story a few times. That's okay. And oh, I know what it was. She was kind of in the dark, but by then it was good enough just to have her in the picture at all. I thought, well, we'll live with that. And then a light comes, something. All of a sudden, she was not in the dark anymore, and it was like I was Baba was making himself present. I thought, okay, Baba, you want this? All right, we're gonna do it. And and it was just a half-hour little interview, and and so it happened. It was just little nudges along the way that yeah. And
Wow.
now that
So
she can get on, we didn't figure she was going to be able to figure out how to get on again. So you were there yesterday, Ron. I think we started her that same recording, and then all of a sudden she's on. She's saying, "I don't like this. I didn't okay this." She was like talking over some- so she can now, yeah, she's now with it.
Yeah, she was critical of what she had done, but I didn't think there was any problem with it at all. I
I'm
thought she was pretty sharp, actually. Very,
Ron, you were in Hamipur? You went to Hamipur?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
can you go back and see those stories?
Yeah, they're all
Oh,
Yeah, they're all recorded.
they're all recorded. Okay.
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
Go ahead, Ron. Yeah.
Anyhow, oh, okay. So did
Oh,
you?
essentially, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's just a small, many small things that you just, Baba is totally in charge. Yeah.
Okay, so your homework, if you come, if you want to come back, is to keep your eyes open, or your reading eyes open, your books open, or ask somebody to tell the story and then repeat it for us. In other words, bring something next time. That would be nice. I'll tell you one that I read in a book that I want to tell you. I've told this many times too because I think it's a great story of how Baba does his thing. And It was in this book called The Divine Humor of Mayor Baba. It was edited by a guy named Kane, a Baba lover in New Delhi. That's my recollection. But this book is such a funny thing in that it's written in English, but I guarantee there's at least 10,000 typos in it. It's not even that big of a book, but like every page has like a, a dozen to 20 typos. But anyhow, you could get through it. And so there was one story in there. I think it was the only story I remember, but it was so interesting that I decided I was going to make that part of my repertoire of stories that I like to tell. And so it has to do with Baba's Mandali. His name was Krishna. He was a young guy. And Krishna served Baba particularly as a night watchman. That's what Baba asked him to do. And so this was in the 40s. I think it was before the New Life, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, before Bao came along to take over, I think. Anyhow, so in the 40s, Krishna was being Baba's night watchman. And then in the morning, his final duty was to bring some bath water for Baba to take a bath. So one morning, and he had done this for a while, but there's one particular morning, Baba puts his hand in the water and he goes, "What are you doing? Are you trying to kill me? This water is boiling hot. I thought you were here to serve me. It looks like you're here to murder me." And Baba just went on and on and on in this criticism of him, to the point where he actually said, you know, you say you've come here to serve, but it'd be better if you had never been born. Baba said that to Krishna. So, and then maybe he said, go to sleep or something, because that was what he would normally do, is go to sleep after being up all night. That would be his next thing. So Baba sent him away. So as he's leaving, Baba is thinking to himself, oh my gosh, I can't, Baba's not so dissatisfied with me. You know, maybe it is better if I hadn't been born, but here I am. Maybe I should just kill myself. So this is the thought that came into his mind. I should just kill myself because I can't serve Baba. That's the only thing he ever wanted to do. At this point, he didn't have any other ambition at all except to try to please Baba by serving him. And now Baba's telling him, you can't do that, you know. And so he's thinking, I got to get out of here. He's going to kill himself. The only thing now, though, he has to think of how he's going to do it. So the thing that, and they weren't staying at Merazad at this point. They were staying somewhere else. But Krishna was familiar with this. It must have been a place where they stayed before. And so he knew about this place where there was a high cliff that he thought he could check it out and see, maybe he could just jump off the cliff and that would be it. So that would be a nice, easy thing. But as he was thinking about it, he thought to himself, well, problem with this is it may not be high enough. I may not die. If I don't die, I'm going to be a burden on Baba. That was his thinking. So he said, I can't rely on this cliff. It's just not high enough. So he decided, he thought of another way, a plan B, and he would just do both. He was going to do both of these things. The other thing that he thought of was to go and steal a bottle of sleeping pills from Dr. Goher. So he's on his way to where Dr. Goher was ministering to some of the local people. And he walks in and she's got a patient. So he's just looking around, trying to remember where she, what she would do is give him a pill every morning. He would go there every morning. She'd give him a pill and then he'd take it and then go to bed and sleep. So he's in there and he thinks he sees the right pill bottle, and he's gonna as soon as she gets distracted, he's just gonna take it and then leave. And so as he's standing there, Baba walks in. And when Baba walks in, he says to Goher, why is he here? Still kind of feigning that he's upset with this guy. But he says, why is he here? And she says, Baba, I give him a sleeping pill every morning. He's waiting for his pill. And Baba looks at her and says, what do you mean? You give him a pill every morning? He has to come over here and get a pill? One pill? That's it? He says, yes, Baba. He says, that's such a waste of his time. Just give him the whole bottle. You know, that way he doesn't have to bother you and he doesn't have to bother coming over here. And she says, okay, Baba. And so she hands the bottle to Krishna and he walks out. He walks back to his room and as planned, he swallows the whole bottle of, the pills that were in the bottle. He swallows them all. Then he gets ready and he starts walking toward the cliff. And so he gets pretty close to where the cliff is. And then he hears from behind, he hears Vishnu calling him, hey, Krishna, Baba wants you. And so of course, when Baba wants him, he's going to go and see what Baba wants, because that's what he does. You know, he pleases Baba and he does what Baba wants. So he goes with Vishnu over to where Baba was. Baba was meeting at this point in a little room with a bunch of people that had come from some other place, some Baba lovers, and they had brought a beautiful box of mangoes for Baba. And Baba was handing them out to the Mandali and to these people, and he hands 2 mangoes to Krishna. And he tells Krishna, he says, these are good mangoes now. I want you to eat the mangoes and eat them with the skin, eat the whole skin too. And so this Krishna thought, the skin, I don't want to eat the skin. But he had to do it because Baba said, eat the skin. So he bites into the mango, and the taste of the skin was so repulsive, he vomited right then and there. And so they had to kind of clean it up, and then I don't think Baba made him eat the rest of the mangoes, but after this get together, it was time for him to go hang out with Baba at Baba's room. So that night, Krishna, well, Baba says, tell me what was going on with you, today after I told you these things and stuff. And he tells him the story, and then he had Krishna press his feet and massage his feet like for hours, so that he wouldn't immediately fall asleep, because he hadn't vomited out all those pills. He didn't want him to go into any type of a coma or anything like that. And so he kept him awake until the morning, and then he had him go to sleep. He didn't need any sleeping pills at that point. So he went to sleep, and he slept for a very long time, but he got up and he felt okay. And he went to the hall, and Baba was there with the Mandali. And when he came in the hall, Baba had him tell the whole story about what had occurred. And he wanted the other Mandali to hear what had gone on with Krishna and the story, because it's an amazing story. What happened was that Krishna was going to be going back to Bombay. He wasn't sure about it, but his mother had found a bride for him and made a deal. And so he was going to go back and get married and live a life in Bombay and not be with Baba. It was very shortly after this incident that this happened. And Baba let him know that he had this sanskaras that needed to come up while Baba was there, which was that the I don't know if you call it, no, you wouldn't call it an aptitude, but a possibility that he would commit suicide. In other words, that he would deal with something by committing suicide. And so Baba, can see all of this in us, and he made it come up and dealt with it with Baba's orders and everything. So and he said, if you ever have that thought, immediately remember this, and don't carry it out past that one thought.
Wow.
Wow. That's a wonderful story.
Yeah. And the timing of it was so amazing too. The bottle, give him the whole bottle, he just sees through every detail, and the timing of sending Vishnu to get him before he got to the cliff. If he had got to the cliff, that would have been a mess. But the timing is just so perfect with Baba.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those stories, you might find them.
I'm just thinking. The other night we were reading. I'm in a reading group. We read Javon's book of Eruch's book. And
That's
we
loaded.
just at a part where someone said people have read ahead. Some people have read ahead, and they're talking about how wonderful this incredible story is that's coming up. So maybe that's something I can bring to this.
Yeah.
in a week or two.
Yeah, Erich's stories. I mean, look at what was the name of that blue, was it blue book that
That's how it was.
uh yeah, I think that's how it was. That was the compilation of um his other two, there were other two books in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's got a lot of, I've told stories like that to a lot of people, even not, Baba lovers, because there's, they're about the perfect master stories, and there's some really good ones in there.
Yeah.
Or the yogis that think they're really something special until they meet an actual perfect master. There's two or three of those stories in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, see if you can work one of those up. Those would be fun to hear.
Yeah.
What's your
I've
sense
been
of
reading.
how long this meeting? An hour and a half or?
Yeah, we don't have to go the whole hour and a half though.
Okay, just curious what you thought. Did Arthur, were you going to finish something
You
today?
want, you want to do some more, Arthur?
Well, you know what I did? I started doing this, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, kind of like my autobiography type thing, kind of like to introduce myself. It's like, I don't know anything about you, and you don't know anything about me. Here's my story the way I saw it. And I've got two of them on YouTube. One is 7 minutes long, and the other is like 16 minutes long. But I think I need to maybe, well, there's so many little details in there that, it seems so important. You wonder what to leave in, what to leave out sometimes. So I get what happens now is I'm recounting the story, and I think of something, I want to go into that, and it's like I lose track of my general trend of thought. So I think maybe I'm not ready.
Yeah,
I have to leave
your notes.
appointment, so I have to leave. So I'm going to see you guys next week. This was fun.
Great. Okay.
Bye,
Jay-
Paula. Nice meeting you.
Paula,
Uh,
Jay Bama. Have a great day.
I wanted to say, I think there are other meetings kind of like this that have sprung up. Ron, you go to Arsenio Rodriguez. He tells some wonderful stories.
Absolutely.
Nick Principe too.
Absolutely. Love both of those guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. On the same order, just kind of stories.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I also heard recently there was a new story on how I came to Baba stories,
Yeah.
except Michael LePage produced it like just a few days ago, like less than 5 days ago. I can't remember the woman's name though. It was something like Jenna. No, that was another person.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
It's on Facebook.
it's
How I
on. No, it's on.
oh, that black
It's
woman,
on YouTube.
Gwendolyn.
I think if you put in Michael LePage,
uh-huh.
how I came to Baba or something like it, it should come up because it just came up
Was it
on my
Gwendolyn woman?
on the feed that somebody gave me because I do watch a lot of those stories, and so if a new one comes up, they might say,
Yeah.
"Watch this one." you know, it's
Is
very good.
is it a
She's
woman named Gazelle?
yeah. What's her name?
Gazelle or Gwendolyn or something? It started with a G. I think
Perhaps
it's Giselle.
Giselle. Okay.
She's from the West Indies or
Yes, exactly. Did you
yeah,
hear that
that
one?
was a fantastic story.
I
Yeah,
know that was so good. I mean, it was a lot of stories in one story.
yeah,
She had a lot of experiences. Baba gave her so many indications of who he was, and she started out with, very, very, sure that this was not going to be anything worthwhile, but
yeah.
he kept on moving her closer and closer. He really wooed her in,
That was a
and
great.
with all the mandali too.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
you YouTube, Michael LePage.
yeah. Michael LePage.
How you do it? Oh, okay. Good. It's nice. It's a wonderful new format. It's just kind of low key. Uh, yeah, Sherry, rather than a presenter or someone who's met Baba and tells the whole story, it's nice to do it this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I certainly recommend. Arsenio now is coming. He'll come every Monday until he peters out. Yeah, sorry you missed he's now that whole thing was recorded now, Ron. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw it. I haven't listened to the whole thing. I started it, but
and Nick is once a month, first the first Monday of the month. So yeah, fun, not nice.
Nick told the first time I heard Nick tell stories, he told a story about this guy. I think his name was Barry Gold, and he lived in the same trailer park back in the early 70s. And they were both Baba lovers. And uh, Barry wanted to make a film about Baba. I mean, they didn't have, I don't think they had video in the early 70s, but he was going to take some slides or stills, and maybe incorporate some footage, but that's what he wanted to do. And so he inquired with Baba's brother Jal about if he knew anybody that could supply him with uh, pictures or anything like that. So he was communicating with Jal, and Jal was very helpful because he had met so many Baba lovers coming through. I met Jal on my first trip in '73 when we were coming through, going to Ahmednagar, and anyhow, after he had done this project, he Jal said, "Well, now you finished your project. Now you have to come to India." And so he said, "Well, Jal, I can't really come to India because my doctor told me I have cancer."
Oh my.
And this doctor had told Barry, he said, we don't think you have, we think you probably have about 6 months to live. And Barry says, you're the first person that ever gave me some time that I could live. In other words, you gave me 6 months to live. That was very generous of you. And he shook his hand. I don't know. It was it was kind of a cool thing that he would say that to this guy. But then, so he told Jal, he says, I can't come. I have cancer. And Jal said, that's exactly why you have to come, because we're going to change that R in cancer to an L.
Cancel.
And he lived 10 more years.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
We changed it to cancel.
Nice.
Yeah.
Uh,
Child used to tell a lot of good jokes too. He was really into telling jokes.
I heard
sorry,
he was
I didn't
very
mean to
funny.
keep on.
I've heard a lot of stories about Hamirpur and Jal from reading Adventures in India with Meher Baba by Rick Chapman.
Oh,
Great book. It's book one. He's going to come out with book two soon, and it's a great book. You got to read it.
Oh, I
Yeah.
haven't seen that. I don't think I've seen that one.
And you have to first read Meeting God in Human Form.
That
That's
one I read.
book, and oh my God, I read the part about where he met Baba over and over and over and over and over, and then I read the rest of the book, But great, great writer. Rick Chapman's a great writer, and so anyway, read his books, and he tells all about the people of Hamirpur, and traveling around India, and it's just a marvelous book.
So he went to Hamirpur in the 60s.
Yeah, 66.
Oh wow. I have to tell uh,
wow. Well,
Alan Ray needs to know about that.
that
Yeah,
would be a good
How are we
interview.
going to get Rick Chapman to do it though? I
that's the
don't know.
year he met Baba in November of 66.
And you went to Hammerpur the first year he met Baba?
I forget. Um,
Wow.
he was staying in Hyderabad, teaching
Ah.
English to the Indian college students, I guess, there. And he would take Baba's discourses and stuff and make them exercises for them to translate. You have to translate these into English now. or you have to read, no, not translate them. You have to read them and, and figure out what they mean and that kind of thing. That was his way of teaching them English, give them Baba literature, because he
Oh,
wasn't
wow.
limited on what kind of literature he could give them. So he gave them Baba literature.
Wow, that's great.
It has a dual
This
purpose.
early. Wow. Papa was alive. Oh,
Yeah, he met Baba in person. Baba said he was only supposed to meet Baba for, I think, 15 minutes, and Baba extended it to like 30 or 40 minutes, I think. But he said, uh, man proposes, God disposes. But now it said God proposes, man disposes, um, because he came to, at Baba's proposal of 15 minutes, but because he made such a wonderful connection with Baba, Baba extended it, so he disposed of that time limit and made it like 30 or 40 minutes more like that. Um, it's a wonderful story.
All right. Since you are an authority on that story, we're going to give you a pop quiz. Well, just tell me the order in which Baba told Rick. He said, "I want you to see me as I really am." Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell it from there.
And then how do I do that? By holding on to my Daman. And then he said, and how do I hold on to your Daman? By loving me more and more. And then he said, how do I love you more and more? And I think it was by his grace that he would love him more and more. Is that correct?
Well, it might be because I haven't, but I mean, I've heard it many times when I heard him give his talk about it. But and I've read the book too. But my recollection was that it was, "I want you to see me as I really am." And then he goes, and then he said, "How are you going to do it? Uh, how will you do that?" And he said, and he didn't say anything because he didn't know, right? So Baba says, "You'll have to long for it.
Oh,
You'll
that's
have to have the longing for it." And then he says, "But where will you get that longing? How will you get that longing?" And he didn't know how he was going to do that either. So Papa had to say, "Love me." That's my recollection of it.
okay. Yeah, that sounds right.
Does it sound right?
Yeah.
Okay. I would, I don't, but I didn't. Uh, I just like that part of it. It's just the Baba's interaction with him it's such a timeless thing,
Yeah.
so
The
incredible.
most wonderful thing for me was where he was up next to Baba's face, hugging him, and Baba said, and he heard this voice that said, look at him," and he looked into Baba's eyes, and Baba
Mm.
shot him like this ray of light just came right into from Baba's eyes into his eyes, and man, that just sounds like such a blissful.
So that was some Mandali member that said that, right?
No, it was in his head, a voice in
Oh,
his head.
oh, I see.
Said, look at
He
him.
was he
Look
was
at him.
telling himself to do it. Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
look at him. You're right up there next to his face. Look at him.
Yeah, yeah.
The most obvious thing, but you just, how are you going to know? But Baba probably just put that voice in his head.
told him, right?
Look at it. Look at me. Damn it.
Well, okay then. Next
That's
week?
great. Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Thanks for your help, Betty.
great. Yeah. Glad
Thanks
you
for
carried
coming,
on.
Arthur and Pam.
Yeah.
Thanks
Great.
for having me.
All right. Oh, today Ferris Day is doing a poetry, talking about her book tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time,
We have a meeting.
on Bob. Oh, you got a meeting. Okay. Well, it'll be recorded.
This is Wednesday.
This
Yeah.
is tonight.
Yeah,
It's
tonight. Okay.
tonight, the poetry thing, the poetry spotlight. Yeah. Okay. It'll be
Okay.
okay.
Take
Jay.
care, Jay Baba.
Hey,
Bye.
Baba.